There's a moment in 2008 that nobody talks about. Elon Musk is standing in front of his team at SpaceX. They've just had their third rocket explode. He's completely broke. Tesla is dying. He has enough money to save one company, not both. And he's about to make a decision that will either make him a legend or destroy everything he's ever built. But here's the strange part. While everyone around him is panicking, while investors are running, while the world is watching him fail, Elon is calm. And in the next 6 months, he will do something that most people couldn't do in 10 years. He will save both companies. He will launch a rocket that reaches orbit. He will secure funding at the last possible second. He will work a schedule that would hospitalize most human beings. And he will rewrite the rules of what one person can accomplish in a short amount of time. But how? That's what I'm going to show you. Because the answer isn't what you think. It's not about working harder. It's not about sleeping less. It's something completely different. Something you can actually use. You know that feeling when you're working as hard as you can, but time just slips away? When you look back at 6 months and wonder where it all went? When you see people like Elon building rockets and electric cars and brain chips while you're struggling to finish one project? I know that feeling. I've been there, and here's what I've learned. The difference between someone who does 10 years of work in 6 months and someone who barely moves forward isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even intelligence. It's something else entirely. And if you stay with me, I'm going to break down exactly what that something is. Not in theory, not in motivational quotes, but in actual practical pieces you can take and use tomorrow. Because this might be the video that changes how you see time, work, and what you're actually capable of. Let me take you back to that moment in 2008. Elon is 37 years old. He's put everything he made from PayPal into 2 companies that everyone said were impossible. SpaceX has failed 3 times to reach orbit. Each failure cost tens of millions of dollars. Tesla is burning cash and can't manufacture cars fast enough. The financial crisis just hit. Nobody wants to invest in crazy ideas like electric cars and private space rockets. Elon has one more shot, one more rocket launch. If it fails, SpaceX is finished. And here's what's insane. He has about 6 months to save everything, 6 months to do what should take a decade. 6 months to prove that private spaceflight is possible. 6 months to make Tesla profitable enough to survive. 6 months to raise money, fix engineering problems, manage hundreds of employees, deal with lawsuits, handle media attacks, and somehow not collapse under the pressure. So what does he do? Most people in that situation would pick one thing. Focus on the most important project. Cut losses. That's what every business advisor told him. Save SpaceX or save Tesla? Not both. But Elon looked at the situation differently, and this is where the first secret appears. He didn't ask which one should I save. He asked, what is the absolute minimum that must happen for both to survive? You see, most people think productivity is about doing more. Elon understood it's about identifying the one thing that changes everything else. For SpaceX, it was simple. The 4th rocket had to reach orbit. Nothing else mattered. Not perfect engineering, not beautiful design, just orbit. For Tesla, it was also simple. They needed to prove they could deliver the Roadster to customers and raise one more funding round. That's it. Here's where it gets interesting. Elon did something that sounds insane. He split his time between both companies, Monday and Tuesday at SpaceX, Wednesday and Thursday at Tesla, Friday split between both. Weekends were for problem solving wherever the fire was biggest. Everyone thought this was stupid. You can't run 2 dying companies at the same time. You'll fail at both. But here's what they didn't understand. Elon wasn't trying to run every detail. He was doing something completely different. He was hunting for the critical path. Let me explain what that means. In any project, there are 1,000 things that need to happen, but only about 3 to 5 things actually determine whether you succeed or fail. Everything else is noise. Most people spend their time on the noise. They answer emails. They go to meetings. They optimize things that don't matter. They feel busy, but nothing moves forward. Elon developed a different approach. Every single day, he would ask his team one question. What is the thing that, if we don't solve it, everything else fails? That became the only thing that mattered that day. At SpaceX, the critical path was clear. The rocket kept failing at the same stage, first stage separation. The engineering team had 12 different theories. Elon didn't have time for 12 theories. He didn't have time for long testing cycles. So he did something radical. He got directly involved in the engineering. Not as a CEO observing from above. He went into the details. He learned the physics. He challenged every assumption. He asked questions that seemed dumb but revealed hidden problems. And here's the key. He made decisions fast. Most organizations die from slow decision-making. You have a meeting, then another meeting to discuss the meeting, then a committee reviews it, then someone asks for more data. Weeks pass, months pass. Nothing happens. Elon created a different culture. If you're an engineer and you have a problem, you don't write a report. You walk directly to Elon. You explain it in 2 minutes. He asks questions. He makes a decision right there. Yes or no. Build it or kill it. This meeting or that approach. And here's the part that matters for you. He was wrong sometimes. The decision wasn't always perfect. But here's what I learned studying this. A fast decision that's 80% right is better than a perfect decision that comes too late, because you can correct a wrong decision. You can adjust, you can iterate, but you can't get back lost time. Time is the one resource you never recover. Elon understood this in his bones. So while other companies were having meetings about having meetings, SpaceX was testing, failing, learning, and improving every single day. Now let's talk about what was happening at Tesla during the same period. The company was in chaos, production problems everywhere, suppliers missing deadlines, quality issues, cash running out. Most CEOs would spend their time in spreadsheets, looking at budgets, cutting costs, having strategy sessions. Elon did something different. He went to the factory floor. He talked directly to the workers building the cars. He asked them what was slowing them down. And here's what he discovered. The problems weren't strategic. They were practical. A part didn't fit right. A tool was in the wrong place. A process had 7 steps when it could have 3. These seem like small things. But when you're trying to build cars fast enough to survive, small things kill you. So Elon started doing something that seemed crazy for a CEO. He would spend entire nights at the factory, not in an office, on the floor, watching the assembly line, timing each step, asking why. Why does this take 5 minutes? Why do we do it this way? Why can't we eliminate this step? And when someone said because that's how it's always been done, he would say, that's not a reason, that's an excuse. He would literally redesign parts of the assembly process right there, draw it on a whiteboard, test it the next day. If it worked, keep it. If it didn't, try something else. This is the second secret. Elon operated at a different speed than normal organizations. There was no gap between thinking and doing, no committee approval, no waiting for the next quarterly review. Idea to test to implementation in days, sometimes hours. But here's what I need you to understand. This wasn't about being reckless. It was about something deeper. Elon had a model in his head of what he called first principles thinking. Most people reason by analogy. They look at how things have always been done and copy that. Electric cars are expensive because batteries are expensive. Rockets are expensive because space is hard. That's how it's always been. Elon would break everything down to fundamental truths. What is a battery? It's cobalt, nickel, aluminum, and some polymers. How much do those materials cost on the commodity market? Much less than what battery companies charge. So why are batteries expensive? Because of the way they're manufactured and the supply chain markup. Can we change the manufacturing? Can we buy materials directly? Suddenly, what seemed impossible becomes a solvable engineering problem. He did the same thing with rockets. Everyone said you can't make cheap rockets because rockets have always been expensive. Elon asked different questions. What is a rocket made of? Aluminum alloys, copper, carbon fiber. How much do those materials cost? About 2% of what a rocket costs. So where does the other 98% go? Complex supply chains, slow manufacturing, lack of reusability. Government contracts that incentivize high prices. What if we manufactured in-house? What if we designed for reusability from the start? What if we moved fast and iterated instead of trying to make everything perfect the first time? These questions led to completely different answers. And this is something you can use right now in your life. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever seems impossible or too slow, stop reasoning by analogy. Stop saying this is how it's done. Break it down to first principles. What are you actually trying to achieve? What are the fundamental truths? What assumptions are you making that might be wrong? Let's go back to 2008. It's now September. The fourth rocket is ready. This is it. If this fails, SpaceX is done. Elon has no more money to build a fifth rocket. The team is exhausted. They've been working 100-hour weeks. Everyone is running on pure determination and caffeine. The rocket launches. First stage works. Separation happens. Second stage ignites. And then it reaches orbit. For the first time in history, a privately built rocket reaches orbit. The team erupts in celebration. Elon just stands there, quiet. Someone asks him later why he didn't celebrate more. He says we still might die. We need contracts. We need revenue. 2 days later, NASA calls. They want to give SpaceX a contract. $1.6 billion to deliver cargo to the International Space Station. SpaceX is saved. But here's the part of the story most people miss. That same month, Elon is still splitting his time with Tesla. The company is days away from running out of money. He's trying to raise a funding round during the worst financial crisis in decades. Nobody wants to invest. On Christmas Eve 2008, Tesla is hours away from bankruptcy. Literally hours. Elon puts in the last of his personal money. He calls every investor he knows. He explains the vision. He shows them the data. He makes the case. And at the last possible moment, the funding comes through. Tesla survives. Both companies survive. And here's what I need you to understand. This wasn't luck. This was the result of a very specific approach to work that let Elon compress what should have taken years into months. The third secret is about how he structured his time. Everyone talks about Elon working 80 or 100-hour weeks. That's true. But it's not the full picture. The question isn't how many hours, it's what he did with those hours. Elon divided his day into 5-minute blocks. Every part of his day was scheduled, not to be rigid, but to be intentional. He eliminated everything that didn't directly contribute to the critical path. No long lunches, no socializing, no browsing, no getting lost in emails. Even meals were working time. He would have meetings during lunch. He would review documents during dinner. Every minute was assigned a purpose. Now, I'm not saying you should do exactly this. That's not sustainable for most people. But here's the principle you can use. Most people don't actually know where their time goes. They think they're working 8 hours, but they're really working 3 hours and spending 5 hours in distractions that feel like work. Try this. For 1 week, track every 30-minute block of your day. Write down what you actually did. Not what you planned to do. What you actually did. At the end of the week, look at where your time went. You'll be shocked. Hours disappear into things that don't matter. Social media, email, meetings that could have been a message, decisions that get postponed. Now ask yourself Elon's question. What is the critical path? What are the 3 things that, if you accomplish them, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? What if you spent 80% of your time on those 3 things and eliminated or delegated everything else? That's how you compress time, not by working harder, by working on what actually matters and cutting everything else. The 4th secret is about learning speed. Elon has become an expert in multiple fields: rocket science, electric vehicles, solar energy, artificial intelligence, neuroscience. How? He reads constantly, but not the way most people read. When Elon was a kid, he would read 2 books a day: science fiction, engineering textbooks, biographies, philosophy, everything. But he wasn't just consuming information. He was building a mental model of how things work. He once said that he views knowledge as a tree. You need to understand the trunk and the big branches before you get to the leaves. The trunk is foundational principles. The branches are general concepts. The leaves are details. Most people start with the leaves. They memorize facts without understanding the structure, so the knowledge doesn't stick and they can't apply it to new situations. Elon learned differently. When he decided to build rockets, he didn't go to school for aerospace engineering. He read textbooks. He talked to experts. He asked them to explain things until he understood the fundamentals. Then he could reason from there. This is something you can do. Whatever skill you're trying to learn, whatever field you're trying to master, start with the fundamentals. Understand the core principles. Once you have that foundation, everything else builds faster. You start seeing patterns. You can transfer knowledge from one domain to another. Elon uses physics principles from rockets to solve manufacturing problems at Tesla. He uses software thinking from his early companies to approach brain-computer interfaces at Neuralink. The knowledge compounds, and this is how you accelerate. You're not learning isolated facts. You're building a connected system of understanding that grows exponentially. Now let me tell you about the fifth secret, and this one is different. It's about emotional fuel, because here's what nobody talks about. The pressure Elon was under in 2008 would break most people. He was going through a divorce. He was being attacked in the media. People were calling him a fraud. His heroes, people he looked up to, were saying he was wasting his money on impossible dreams. He couldn't sleep. He lost weight. He was stressed to the point of physical illness. So how did he keep going? This is important. Elon has talked about this. He said he felt a sense of obligation, not to investors, not to employees, to the future. He genuinely believed that humanity needed to become a multi-planetary species to survive long-term. He believed that sustainable energy was necessary for the planet. These weren't abstract ideas to him. They were urgent missions. And that belief, that sense of purpose bigger than himself, became fuel that pushed him through impossible situations. Here's what I've learned. You can't sustain extreme effort for shallow reasons. If you're only working for money, you'll quit when it gets hard. If you're only working for recognition, you'll burn out when nobody appreciates you. But if you connect your work to something deeper, something that matters beyond yourself, you tap into a different kind of energy. It doesn't mean you won't get tired. It doesn't mean it won't hurt. But it means you'll keep going when others stop. So ask yourself, why does your work matter? Not just to you, to the world, to other people, to the future. If you can't answer that question, you won't have the fuel to do 10 years of work in 6 months. Because that level of effort requires meaning, not just motivation. Let's talk about the sixth secret. Elon surrounds himself with people who are as obsessed as he is. Not just talented. Obsessed. People who care about the mission more than comfort, more than work-life balance, more than normal careers. This sounds extreme, and it is. But here's the thing. The people around you determine your speed. If everyone around you thinks working hard is 40 hours a week, you'll feel crazy for working 60. If everyone around you thinks big goals take decades, you'll feel unrealistic for wanting to do it in years. But if you're surrounded by people who think the impossible is just a hard engineering problem, your entire reality shifts. You start to believe different things are possible. Your standards change. Your normal changes. Now, I'm not saying you need to work at SpaceX to apply this. But look at who you spend time with. Look at who you listen to. Are they people who are building things, solving hard problems, pushing boundaries? Or are they people who complain, make excuses, and settle for average? This isn't about being harsh. It's about being honest. You become the average of the people you surround yourself with. If you want to operate at a different level, you need to change your environment. Find communities, online or in person, where people are doing what you want to do, where the standard is higher, where your crazy goal is just Tuesday for them. That shift in environment will accelerate you more than any productivity hack. Here's the seventh secret, and this might be the most practical. Elon has a bias for action over planning. Most people spend months planning, creating perfect strategies, designing detailed roadmaps. Then when they finally start, reality is different from the plan and everything falls apart. Elon does the opposite. He starts before he's ready. He builds a prototype. He tests it. It fails. He learns why. He builds a better version. He tests again. This cycle happens fast. very fast. The Cybertruck is a perfect example. When Tesla was designing it, Elon didn't want years of design committees. He sketched an idea. It was radical, angular, stainless steel. People said it was ugly. He said, build a prototype. They built it. He tested it. The window broke during the demonstration. Everyone thought it was a disaster. But here's what happened. The publicity from that failure got more attention than any ad campaign could have bought. And the design, as polarizing as it was, got hundreds of thousands of pre-orders. The lesson isn't fail publicly. The lesson is test reality fast. Don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for ready. Start. Build something. Put it out there. Let reality teach you. You will learn more from one real test than from 100 planning meetings. And every time you test, you're either succeeding or learning. Both move you forward. The only way you don't move forward is by not testing at all. So whatever you're working on, ask yourself, what's the fastest way I can test this? What's the minimum version I can build to see if this works? How can I get real feedback today instead of theoretical opinions? Then do that. Build the momentum. Speed creates its own advantages. Now we're getting close to the end, and I want to bring this all together, because you might be thinking, this is great for Elon, but I'm not building rockets. How does this apply to me? Here's how. The principles are universal. Identify the critical path. Make fast decisions. Think from first principles. Compress your learning. Connect to deep purpose. Surround yourself with the right people. Bias toward action. These aren't special abilities. They're choices. Choices you can make today. Right now you have something you're working on. A project, a business, a skill, a goal. Maybe it feels like it's going to take years. Maybe you're overwhelmed by how much there is to do. Here's what I want you to do. Take out a piece of paper. Write down everything you think you need to do. Everything. Now circle the 3 things that, if you accomplish them, would make everything else easier or unnecessary. Those 3 things are your critical path. For the next week, spend 80% of your time on those 3 things, not 50%. 80%. Cancel meetings that don't directly support those 3 things. Stop checking email every 20 minutes. Stop researching endlessly. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Just work on those 3 things. And here's what will happen. You'll make more progress in 1 week than you made in the last month. Not because you worked harder, because you worked on what actually mattered. That's the secret. That's how Elon does 10 years of work in 6 months. He's not superhuman. He's just brutally focused on the critical path and ruthlessly eliminates everything else. You can do this too. The question is, will you? Because the moment you identify it, you can start. And once you start, you'll discover something powerful. Time bends when you're working on what truly matters. 6 months can feel like years of progress, or 6 months can disappear with nothing to show. The choice is yours. Choose the path that future you will thank you for. Choose the hard focus over the easy distraction. Choose to compress time by eliminating everything that doesn't serve your mission. That's how you do 10 years of work in 6 months. Not by magic, by ruthless clarity and relentless action. Now go build something that matters.